Come on, go. Oh. Good. Oh. As you can see by the sign up front here, the Montanari brothers have always been really hospitable to me. They had my back since day one. Even before I ever competed, just getting ready for my first show, they were always there, attending all my shows. And aside from having what I consider to be the best gym that I've ever trained in, they're a great bunch of guys.
We're here with Evan Centopani and his father, Victor. First of all, Victor, what did you think when Evan first started messing around with weights back when he was a teenager? Did you ever think it was going to be something he would continue and take to this level?
No, I really didn't. He started out kind of on the wrong track with losing weight and trying to build muscle at the same time, and then he finally figured out that I guess he was going in two directions at once there. But once he straightened it out, you know, it took off pretty good. He figured it out pretty much on his own. I mean, he basically taught himself, which is pretty good. It's a hard thing to figure out, but he did it. I mean, I don't know if anybody's come that far that quick. It's amazing, really.
Did you ever see this as something he would be able to make a living at the way he has?
I never thought about it, but I have to believe it. It happened.
Yeah. You've been to all of his pro shows at this point?
Pro and amateur.
Pro and amateur?
Yeah.
I mean, he's obviously won almost everything he's ever entered.
Yes.
So, yes. I mean, what was it like at the Arnold last year when, you know, finally he wasn't the winner? Was it tough to see him not have his hand raised in victory as you've seen him done so many times before?
Well, yeah, I mean, it's you're coming to the top of the level now, you know, the complete top. There's probably only one more notch to go after this. So, you know, the competition is fierce. I mean, everybody works hard in the whole sport. I mean, everybody kind of deserves, you know, their place there. I mean, everybody puts a lot into it. It's hard to say that, you know, it's hard to choose one person over the other. You can't shortchange anybody, I don't think. You know, there's it's a real dedicated sport. And, you know, it's a fine line. It sure seems to be a fine line with, you know, who comes in first and who comes in second.
Has it been sort of like a learning curve for you? And when I assume did you ever go to shows before he started competing in them, or did you?
No.
So you sort of learned about, you know, how the sport works and what they're looking for by watching him.
I had in the beginning I wasn't sure, but you know, as we went to a few shows, then I figured out what they were looking for. I'm not a judge. I mean, I don't have the eye for what a judge looks at, but I mean, you got to be dedicated.
Evan, are these shirts specially made for you?
No, I can't say they are. Anybody can purchase them.
Nice sport. I mean, he has the dedication. I don't know if the other guys, I guess they do. I don't know. I gotta figure that they do. But what I see with him, I don't know. Can't be too many people with that kind of dedication. Can't be. I mean, I'm dedicated to what I do, but when it comes to, you know, the cooking and the training and the discipline, I mean, he doesn't stray at all. You know, he's gonna go to the top.
So, Evan, I mean, these things don't, you know, when someone's got these kind of values and work ethic and discipline, they don't come out of thin air. They come from your upbringing. So, aside from the physical things your dad passed down to you, what are some of the things that he passed on to you growing up that you think are helping you be successful in your career today as an adult?
Well, you know, I always saw my father when I was growing up. He worked. You know, he in his line of work, he makes his business to be, you know, as good as you could possibly be at it. To be as educated on the subject as you can be. To be, you know, to know everything there is to know about it inside and out, and to be, you know, to be as good as you could possibly be at it. Not just I do this, you know, from 9 to 5, or this is what I do for a living, and I just do it to make a paycheck. But I do this because, you know, I'm passionate about it.
Let it go, let's go.
If Planet Fitness would have just kicked you right out.
And you know, I always watched him when he did things. He always attempted, whether it was, you know, in his line of work or things that we would do, say, around the house, whether it was fixing something or fixing something on the car or fixing something in the house or anything really. It was always do it as good as you can do it. You know, you could do a half-assed job or you could do a good job. Why do a half-assed job? So it's, you know, do it right or don't bother doing it.
I mean, I think for anybody, no matter what you do, if you like what you're doing and you're dedicated to what you're doing it for you. Okay, you're doing it for your own satisfaction. You know, the byproduct is you may make a living at it. Hopefully you make a living at it. But you do it for you. Then there's never any disappointment. I mean, you're not going to be in a sport and expect to win everything all the time. You may not be the best at the sport, but you're not going to walk away disappointed because you're doing it for you. You're not doing it really for anybody else. And that's the way you got to look at it. I mean, you succeed at something in your own mind. It's for your own. You're not looking around to see who's looking and, you know, what they're thinking. Well, I mean, that's it means something to you, but you know, you're not going to be disappointed if you're doing it for yourself. You'll never be disappointed if that's what you want to do truly, and you do it. You may end up moving on to something else later on, but you've been there, you did that, and you did it, you know, for yourself, and that's what matters. You're not doing it for anybody else. That's the way I see it. I mean, that's what works for me. You know.
Now you watched, obviously, you watched Evan from the very beginning. You watched him from birth, but you know, very few men ever get this type of development that he has. He's like in the upper, you know, 1,000% of anyone that ever picks up a weight will eventually look like this. At what point did he get so big that you said, "Wow, I can't believe this is my son," and that he's built this physique?
It was. I mean, I went along with him from the beginning. So, you know, in the beginning, from the first show, I had to say that. And then you look at the second show, and you look at the third show, and then, you know, you don't really realize until you get to the fourth or fifth show, when you look back, you say, my God, you know, then you've got something to compare to. It's like looking at somebody, you know, when you got a baby, grows every day, you don't notice the difference. But somebody walks in a month later, you know, you got something to compare. There's, you know, you can see the difference then. You know, it just kind of progressed. You don't really, like, you see it, but you really don't realize, you know, going from the first show to the fifth show, what the big difference was.
I think it's funny too, you know, because you'll never see, like, you know, I'll always view my father a certain way, Just like he'll always look at me. Like I don't think he'll ever, we could be at a bodybuilding show and he'll look at somebody else and probably say to himself, "Wow, shit, look at the size of that guy." I remember like the New York Pro when I was, competing against say Marcus Rule and Dennis James, two of the bigger bodybuilders. And I remember even Erica saying the same thing because I know she, same thing for her. She said, when I saw those guys come out by themselves and I saw you come out by yourself, I thought, oh shit, he's in trouble. These guys are so much bigger than him, which they were bigger than me. But then you kind of see, maybe you see me next to him on stage and you say, well, maybe the difference isn't, as large as I thought. So I think it's tough to ask someone who, knows me that well. I think the more you know somebody, it's something you don't even really notice about them anymore. I think maybe to some degree.
I mean, you need a trained eye to know, what specifically a judge is. When you're trying to see through the eyes of a judge at the show, I don't have the trained eye for that. I can't just sit there and say, "Oh, my son should win," because he's my son.
Yeah.
I mean, I've tried to understand what exactly the judges look for and whatnot, but I mean, he's dedicated. I think with a lot of guys, they're in it for a while and then they hang it up. You don't see them. They come in, they go out as fast as they come in, and that's the way with a lot of businesses or whatever. The people that stay along steady seem to make it all the way. Not the guys that come in quick and go out quick. But he's got the dedication. I mean, and the work ethic and the understanding of nutrition. All that plays a part in it. I don't know if everybody has that. You got to look at yourself individually. I mean, you can't just say, well, I'm just another bodybuilder. No, he got genetics play a part, which some people can't do anything about. No matter how hard you work, he understands nutrition. He understands how your body functions. I mean, a lot of these guys maybe don't know that. So you can't just say you're just another guy. That's what's going to set him apart from somebody else. The difference between winning and coming in first or coming in second.